Good afternoon, friends. Today is Thursday, March 28th. Um, I am recording this video, which I'm going to talk about um, some of the calls which I made it during this quarter. I started posting videos from January 9th. You can see all of them on the YouTube. And then I also posted a lot of calls, of course, on my website too. So what I thought I would do is I would actually go through some of those calls, and I went and documented them here. Basically, it's just like a simple spreadsheet which shows the first time I ever talked about a stock, so starting on January 9th, and then I'm actually surprised I posted all the way about 100 calls. Just these are just on the videos, and there may be a lot more on the website too. But here I just took the video calls. Let's say suppose on January 9th, I talked about Adobe and what type of indicator it is and why am I calling it long or short. And then the entry price of the ABC is about what is the price would be and what I consider it to be targets. So let's just go ahead and talk about some of the winners and some of the losers for this quarter. And in addition to that, I also wanted to show you how I avoided certain trades, for example Apple or trading gold, or these kind of trades which I completely avoided it and I have not taken it. And then there are some trades which I've taken, it went sideways, and some trades I absolutely missed it. I could see that the calls existed at the time, but I couldn't trade it. But I thought I would just discuss all of them. So I guess instead of posting the end of month video, I thought that I would post the end of quarter video, with showing you highlighting some of the misses and some of the winners and losers and trades like that. I thought that should be a little more fun. So first is let's just talk about this S&P. S&P, I guess, in addition to that, what else I wanted to show you is we could go to my website and actually pull up a call for any kind of a stock, whichever I'm going to talk about it. For example, let's say Apple, right? So you could go into my website and see entire historical calls for the entire Apple. So every chart which I posted would have a timestamp on it. That means that you could actually go and see. This is, for example, it's like this is posted in November 2nd, 2012. That's when I posted this particular call, and I was trying to post, highlight some type of a setup or whatever. So you would see that type of thing, and you can actually see chronologically. So that means anytime I post it, I can just pull it up. And let's say, for example, if you were to go and look at something like a Broadcom, let's say Broadcom, these are all you could just go and see all the charts or any kind of a call which I posted in the last. I think this one goes to 6 months, but we could also bump it up to a year to see what all calls I made it. So every chart will have a date and the timestamp when I posted it. So we could actually scroll it down or scroll up and then actually figure out what it is. So let's just get started. And first, what I thought I would do is I would go back to this chart and start showing you. And the first is S&P. Just briefly, I guess S&P, I had it right from beginning of this EL, which is a 1373. Of course, the call came in much before. It actually, this is probably the call was in sometime in November time frame, and that's when the call actually started coming. Let me actually check one thing here. The labels. Let's just remove this. I'll put a probably top placement. Okay, great. So we can actually see the date here. So the entry actually on that day was it's the, let's see if we can point out here. This is the 1373's entry. I know I thought that I would actually see only until 1471 and 1506, but it continued to go up, and now it didn't even stop at 1551. I guess the next target range would be 1607 on S&P. So this is what my calls would be, and this is how I'll be talking about it. Obviously I won't cover every single one of them, but I have listed some of the winners and losers and some of the calls, how I avoided and that type of thing. Okay, now let's go into look at what happened with the NQ. NQ also had this similar type of an ABC pattern, which is again, this was also sometime in November time frame. The trigger was in November, and then now it's still heading towards, this is the first target zone is here. first target zone is here, and then so I think I'm still thinking that it would probably head to this 29.33 kind of thing on the NQ to for this trend to probably complete. Let's look at QM. These are, of course, I posted, all along, but this is actually, I'll be talking about stocks. So today, I guess, QM has a two type of triangles. And the first triangle, right from beginning, my targets were between 98 and 102, sorry, 100 and 102. And now it's actually still continuing, so I'm still in USO calls. So I'm actually trading this actually, I started trading it quite some time ago, which we were talking about it. And at that time, the QM was, of course, trading. Let's go to this 114, which is a sometime. So there was the first ABC was forming here. So if you go back to my website and then actually let's try to pull up QM. See if we can get any of these calls. Yes, here is the one. There's lots of course, calls on QM. I did it, and so let's go back to this 114. In fact, even on my website, I was posting it pretty much on a daily basis. So see, if you look at it, these are the calls which I started it. So at that time, about this is 110, 116. So these are the ones which I started posting it, and of course, and then I was saying that it's 98 to 102. Of course, this ABC resulted in actually forming the second ABC. Now it's actually second ABC. I'm still thinking that it's going to head to between 98 and 100, and then the next targets would be probably between 102 and 106 kind of thing. So that's what is the call for the QM. Now let's look at look at this Apple and how I completely avoided Apple trading it. And here is the Apple. The one of the biggest reason which I traded Apple is, of course, Apple has what I call is a head and shoulder pattern, and this is the head and shoulder pattern which is being generated here. And of course, the targets were reaching up to this 419 and 390 level. Of course, it reached the 419 and it started bouncing it back. But now I completely avoided, because of one of the other reason is I always monitor the trend. So when I'm trading the patterns, I'm actually trading with the trend. And look at it, right from the this is October 8th, and when the price was about $636, the trend actually turned negative, and you can see it in the red color. And once the trend turned negative, even all of these bumps, it never actually turned positive. One of the reason, so that's the reason, of course, I knew that the price is way too high at that price, and even now I think that is still price is high. So right now it's 442. Even in the last bounce, I didn't see the trend change to green. Because of that reason, I completely avoided Apple. So let's just also look at gold, GLD. The same thing with GLD. GLD, I've been looking for it to trade for a really long time, but I have completely avoided trading it because one of the primary reason is, since for longest of time I've been calling gold, the trend has not reversed it yet, and now it's 154. Recently it traded all the way to 156, 157, and I was actually trying to see if it actually closes above 158 and then gives me a kind of a buy signal on a double bottom pattern, but it never did, and that's the reason I avoided GLD. But I'll show you a couple of avoided, how I avoided before, and then let's just look at the one stock now. The ones which are still I'm in trading is they called Aron. So let's just see when I actually called Aron. So here, this is the Aron, which is on 114th. 114th, it's ABC. The entry was at 22.16 and 24 and $26. $24 to $26 is actually the targets for this. So here, and this is the ABC pattern which is actually currently working, and so now the target, it actually reached its first targets, but I am still in Aron because Aron also has what I call it the inverse head and shoulder pattern. An inverse head and shoulder pattern, I'm actually looking for its target to reach all the way to 28.75. So I'm actually using this, the 28 calls, and so I think basically I'm going to wait until this reaches that point. But that's the reason I'm actually in an Aron stock. Now let's look at another one, broadcast. So the next one I'm looking at it is the CMG. CMG, has an inverse head and shoulder pattern, and I guess the targets are between 300 and I guess I'm expecting it between 350 and 360, and it could actually go much higher too. So that's another stock which I think is a winner, because I think I picked this stock right from beginning, and once the trend started turning around to green, and that's when I picked up this stock. And the next one is a CMI. Let's see if we can minimize this. CMI has a, let's see, the CMI, the call of CMI itself. CMI was on 1/9, that's January 9th. So let's go back, let's look at CMI. CMI has now actually building up a second triangle, but actually if you look at it, the first triangle is here. Let's go back to my website and see some of the calls of CMI. CMI is a Cummins engine. So here, the calls, wow, the CMI is also picking up here. This is the one which is the first call was actually, this is almost all the way into October, but then I was actually trading CMI all along. CMI here is about still in November. Let's see if we can go to sometime in January. All of them are CMI calls, and there's another indicator called CMI which I use it to measure the market internals, and that's also pulling up that too, because probably it has the same type of a symbol. So here, let's just say, and this is the CMI, and then the first, of course, the ABC was at 91.76, and then of course the targets were 115 and 123. And now if we look at our chart itself, right now it went all the way at $122, and it's coming in a negative side. And I guess right now I do not have a position in CMI, but that was one of the winner too. Now let's look at Cisco. Cisco, I traded it using this ABC pattern, and let's go back and see when I call Cisco here. Cisco was again on January 14th. January 14th, let's go back and look at January 14th. It's right here. Although I was trading Cisco much before, because I think I actually called it, and then I'm still expecting Cisco to move much higher. I think my targets on Cisco are $22.75 and $24. Now let's look at another one, is the Coinstar. Coinstar, I've been calling it right from beginning, because I think you guys might have seen the inverse head and shoulder pattern, and let's see if it actually formed it here. Yes, there is the inverse head and shoulder pattern in Coinstar also. And this is the one I've been trading it for quite some time. Right now, I guess the stock targets are between 57 and 58. And let's see when I called Coinstar 2. Coinstar inverse head and shoulder in an ABC pattern. This is on January 25th. And the targets are $61 and $65. And let's see where is it right now. It is actually trading at $58, and I think the next target range would be, I guess, just about $62, and that's what I will be expecting it for the Coinstar to reach. Now let's go and look at CVX. This is the Chevron, which I think I posted this quite a few times. Let's look at it. Doesn't have it here. This is the Chevron. And Chevron, I've traded this before, and I also traded USO. I guess primarily right now I'm still in USO basically in this, and I'm not in CVX at this point. But my targets are, I think that at least it's going to reach 123, and it probably would reach even much higher too. And that would be the next levels of the targets for CVX. Let's look at one of the biggest stock which I love. It is Deckers. I think you guys probably started seeing me posted this quite some time. Deckers has a fantastic, another call is it also has something what I call is an exhaustion gap coupled with the ABC patterns, and this is the exhaustion gap. Let's actually go and look at this exhaustion gap call, which I posted along with this ABC pattern. So if you go to my website, here, let's go to Deckers. So now, what I wanted to show you is right from beginning, I was actually eyeing Deckers. One of the biggest reason is I was actually looking at right in November of 2012 that there is an exhaustion gap which is forming it here, and then let's see how it actually developed it. And once it started closing the gap, and then I started noticing saying that well now if this one does form an ABC pattern, this would be perfect ABC to trade it. And here again, this is in December. Now I started saying that this is an ABC bullish pattern in December again. Let's look at uh, let's look at in January when was the first time actually January 3rd there was an ABC pattern, it developed it, and then I was saying that the targets would be 43 and up on 46, and this is what I actually traded it because I also know that it's a perfect ABC bullish pattern. So now come into like March time frame. Look at how it actually evolved it to all these are Decker's calls, and I'm actually scrolling up so that way we can actually get to this. And this is today, and today Decker's actually went up by $3 and it reached $55. And our target, first original target was $46, but now my final targets would be between $53 and $59, and today it is trading at $55 price range. So let's look at Decker's call itself. The first time Decker's was called on the video at least is on January 9th, and then the price was trading about 36, and I think I did say that it's 43 to 46 is its range. Okay, now let's go to I think I'm going to skip some of them, but let's just go and look at a couple of more. GMCR. GMCR is the Green Mountain Coffee. This is also has a perfect ABC pattern, and this one also I traded once the trend changed into green, and then I knew that this ABC is going to work, and that's the reason I traded this pattern too. This one also I believe I called it in about the same time frame in January, I believe. Yes, so that's again on January 9th, GMCR. So if you go to that video, that day's video on YouTube, you will see it. And that's what I was only targeting 31, 34, and 41 to 47. And now I think GMCR is actually trading at $56. Now let's look at a couple of losers which I traded it, and then how they didn't work out. This is one of it is the Coach. Coach was pretty much sure, and I actually traded this Coach. And there, once it started trading about there was an ABC pattern. And let's actually go back to my calls on the website itself. So these are all the Coach calls. If you look at it, let's just start looking at it in here, January 14th, and I was just saying that this is an ABC pattern. It would get to that point, the 61.5 to 63, but their earnings came out and really turned bad, and because of that reason, I think actually Coach tanked big time, and Coach fell right now the 61, and I was even expecting that it would reach to the 67 and $71 on the Coach, but actually now I trading far below that price. So if you look at it, because of this earnings, it actually tanked it, and now it's most of the luxuries actually kind of have a downturn right now, including if you look at Tiffany. Ralph Lauren is doing okay, but stocks like if you look at the PVH, which also missed their earnings, and I guess I'm expecting that that may be some kind of a sign, but I guess I won't be touching this stock for a while. Let's look at another bummer call, which is again an earnings call, which is they call Garmin. Garmin, I called it in. Let's go back and see when exactly I called Garmin. Let's look at here. 129, that's January 29, and I said it's the targets would be $42 and $44. If you go back and look at it, this one now is trading at $33. Basically, there was an ABC pattern here, and then I was expecting that the ABC pattern would continue, but it just because of their earnings, it actually tanked quite a bit, and I guess I won't be touching the stock for a while also. Let's look at one more of a. stock. This is the OVTI, and I was again OVTI. I was trading the stock OVTI, and again it because of this earnings it tanked it, and I know now it's looking like another ABC. It's forming it, but I won't be touching this ABC because I think this is their earnings were bad. Because of that reason, I think the stock is going to continue to fall furthermore. And I do have two more stocks for the losers, but I'll show you that a little later. Let's look at one of the winner called Goldman Sachs, and I've traded Goldman Sachs quite a few times before. I think one of the biggest reason I think I love Goldman Sachs is because it actually has a what I call is a I guess this is a kind of a 5-point program, a 5-point pattern, which is probably part of like a bearish butterfly kind of a setup. But my targets on Goldman Sachs is between 162 and 179, and I do like when the patterns actually do an extension rather than within the retracement. That means I'm actually I'm not looking for it to stop within this retracement. I actually wanted it to extend beyond that range, and that's when I consider these are called bearish patterns. So far we are not there yet. So let's go back to that, and then let's look at another fantastic stock which I really loved it, and I traded this IMAX. IMAX is still continuing even now, but IMAX, let's see when I call this IMAX. IMAX was again called on January 9th when it was trading. I guess the trigger is 2116, 25.6 to $26 is the target ranges. We could also go back to my website and see the post for the IMAX itself. IMAX post, of course, right from beginning I was actually posting this because I was trading this IMAX myself. So if you look at it right in December itself, I knew that that would be the ABC pattern, and then this is the one which is going to expand it to this $25-26 range. So that was the call, and if you go back to the chart, here is the January 9th is somewhere about here, I think. There, that was the one. Nope, a little bit further down. Yep, there. So once it's there, of course, now the IMAX is still its targets are between 26 and 80 and 28 and a half. Those are the ABC targets, but I'm not in IMAX anymore because I think I already made it, and then I got out of my calls which I had it. Let's look at another one is the Infosys. Infosys, again, let's see when I posted Infosys. Here. Infosys was first posted on 115. At that time, my targets are $53 and $56. So let's go back to my website. And here is the Infosys. I guess these are all the recent calls, but we could go back all the way to January. Here is just before it was about to break out, and I was still saying that that would be the range of its targets. So you could go back and look at even in January the other calls, because I was actually trading this at that time. So now look at Infosys. Right now it's trading at 53.91, but my targets are still like $56 on this target. So, and I was lucky to catch this before their earnings, and the earnings were on that day it went up like, I believe it's like $7-8. It actually gapped up, and then since then it's trading even higher. Okay, now let's look at another one is a Juniper. Juniper was also fantastic because I was actually trading it in the first ABC, and now it's forming a second ABC. I'm kind of eyeing on it because right now Juniper, of course, now it has a red trend, so I'm not automatically going to jump in the trade yet, but it is actually right now at 200 period moving average, and I'm still waiting for it to some type of a price action and change of the trend, and then I could probably get into this trade. But Juniper was, let's see the Juniper's call itself. Yes, Juniper was also called on, I guess, my very first video, which I was saying that the targets would be 19.5 to 20.5, $21 to $23 is the next ranges. So let's look at the chart itself. It did go to this $23, and that was I think I was in the first ABC, and when it reached my targets, I actually closed the Juniper, and now it's actually since then it's falling since then. Now let's look at another one, Philip Morris. Philip Morris, again, I traded the first time it formed the ABC, and that one also was a winner for me. Now let's look at a couple of stocks which I actually missed the trades. For example, look at this Biogen stock. I knew that there was an ABC pattern, but it was in such a massive uptrend right from sometime in the middle of June, July of last year. So I guess I never took this trade, but right now even today it went up by $10 because of I guess their approval of that MS drug. Because of that, but I actually completely missed this. Biogen, and so did I miss the Cree. I used to trade this quite often before, but for some reason I missed Cree on this ABC pattern too. I never traded it in the recent months. Another stock which I am surprised that I missed, the IBM. IBM, I traded the IBM when it was trading sub 150 type of thing, and then I think I closed the trade. But when it was showing me such a choppy action here, I probably never got into the IBM. But that is now I consider that is also a miss. Another one I'm going to show you is the SanDisk. I've traded SanDisk quite a few times, but I missed this last ABC pattern, and I guess not quite sure why, but I guess it's doing a pretty strong trend. I have posted about SanDisk also in my videos, but I have not traded this. Now let's look at another one is the Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments is another one which I have traded it. Let's go back and look at actually the call itself. Texas Instruments, again, this was posted on January 14th. And I guess my targets were 32.34. I believe I closed my trade about when it reached this 32.34 kind of a calls. And let's go back and actually look at the my Texas Instruments calls itself. Texas Instruments calls were I knew about this Texas Instruments right in all the way into October, but I think I probably picked it up somewhere in November, December time frame, and then since then, I was expecting that the stock would reach between this 31.3, 33. I was saying it even in November. If you look at it now, let's go and look at where was it. Yes, now it's actually trading at $35, and now I'm thinking that its next target probably would be. I guess between $36 and $38 would be its targets, and it's right now it's trading at $35.50 already. And this is also, if you look at it, and this is becoming a 5-point pattern. When I call extensions, and I'm looking for this is an extension. It's forming an extension now. So here. Right now this is the 5-point I guess it's probably butterfly, and here what I'm expecting it is, because when I call extension, I'm looking for this extension, this pattern, this magenta line actually crossing the XA line, and those are the ones which I like to trade it rather than trading within the XA line itself. Okay, let's look at one more, Xilinx. Xilinx also, I traded it and I closed it. I believe I closed it when it reached this $39 at this point. And so now when I'm looking at Xilinx again, Xilinx also has an X5 pattern, but I guess the targets on Xilinx would be between 39 and 41. And if you go back to my website, you would also see, let's look at Xilinx calls. Oops, not that. Xilinx. You can see these Xilinx calls being posted. All the way from November, and I have it saying that it would actually get to this $39 kind of thing, and this is in January, and that's when I think I actually picked up I picked up it much before, but that was my calls, and $39 is the one which I actually closed the trade. And now Xilinx is coming back to, I guess it reached its 36, and it's again now it probably will get to the $41. Let's show you one or two more of it. Yes, the another one which I completely missed it missed it means in the sense it's actually avoided it is one of the said is the Monster, and I've been posting about Monster also. I was looking for it to the trend to turn green, so that way I can probably get in, but it has got such a negative news associated with it, and that's the reason I could never get into the stock. Another stock which I kind of dislike it is a stock kind of like a CS Holding. First of all, this chart has such a choppy action right from I guess once it reached this 2012 peak. Then since then, in April of last year, and it is trading in a sideways kind of action. But here another thing is, it's actually went beyond my comfort zone of a C retracement, and that's the reason I don't like to trade this kind of stocks. But that was another one which avoided. Let me show you the last loser, which is a VMware. VMware also, I posted it. I was thinking that it would actually get to this. Once I started seeing the trend, I got into the stock, and then of course its earnings came and the stock tanked it. Of course, now I won't probably be getting into this VMware anymore. So then there's a couple of other stocks which went sideways, and they're still going sideways. I think we talked about the USO, and right now it's showing a little bit of its strength. So I think I'm still trading this 35 or 35 and a half calls. So I think I'll be waiting for that. And another one which I closed it because I was kind of disappointed on its returns was actually I was calling dollar bull. This is the UUP dollar actually quite bullish, and I was in UUP calls, but I think once it became in the money, it wasn't really moving a whole lot. So that's the reason I actually closed the trade. And I still think that dollar probably is going to head higher. Yes, I think my target in that was like 83 and a half. So that's where it probably will be heading higher. So those are my winners and losers for this quarter. And I will try to post more of videos next week. But at this point, it's great. Thanks, guys. And I guess this is a long weekend. So have a great weekend.